Hello, 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 and welcome to MJ Live. It's a Tuesday, and normally I'm here on a Thursday, so I'm hoping that you guys will join us. Our guest is going to be here in a few moments. I can see her already there in the waiting room, looking lovely as ever. So, welcome to you, Candid Ann. I'm going to bring you up in a little bit. But before we do, let us go ahead and share, guys. Give 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 you guys a chance to come on in. So let's go ahead and play our music, and as we share the post, let's go, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on into the chat room and give me a thumbs up if you can hear the music as well. Welcome, guys. Let's share on Facebook. Let's share on your WhatsApp. Let's share wherever you want to share. Welcome, welcome, guys. Welcome. Hope you're having a lovely, lovely day. Share on Facebook. Share on YouTube. Share to your groups. Your health is your wealth. It's a major part of your wealth. Come on in, guys, get your water, get your drinks, get your snacks, whatever it is you want. Welcome, Gary. How you doing, man? Still staying up late, I see. Where are you in? Are you in Trinidad? Are you still in Trinidad? I thought that you were traveling, right? Where are you? We're gonna have a really good conversation today. Can you hear the music? Give me a thumbs up, Candid Ann, if you can hear the music. Yeah, okay, awesome. So Gary, where are you? Sure, we're gonna have a great conversation. It might be a little bit light, but I'm sure people will catch the replay as well. Hey, the Intentional Millionaire is here. Welcome, welcome. Oh, Gary just got back from Trinidad. Okay. That was a short trip. Thanks, Gary. How are you doing? How was your trip? How are you, the Intentional Millionaire? How are you, Tim? Okay. I did my sharing nice and early today, so I am ready. Back in the UK. We are on tour. That's good. All right. Okay, guys. Okay. Welcome, 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 everybody. You're tuned into MJ Live. This is the Retire Ready series. And so far, we've been talking about a lot of different topics. We talked about budgeting and finance, your favorite budgeting system, and credit, how to stay out of credit. Talked about that early in the series. We talked about wills and trusts. We had a professional come on the show and talk about that topic. Then we also talked about I have a long list of things we talked about. We talked about our net worth. We talked about being financially free. We talked a little bit about wills and trusts, and we talked about our financial plans. So we talked a little bit about 401ks, and we are going to get into so many different topics because this topic is wide and deep And healthcare is a major part of it. And today we have a professional nurse who is going to talk about her experience in the field. So we're going to get it firsthand, guys. So I'm really, really looking forward to this conversation. Before I do, let's just make sure that everybody's welcomed. Welcome to you again, Gary Dixon over there in the UK. Thanks for staying up late. Welcome to Tim, the intentional millionaire. Good to have you. Welcome to Edward Smart. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And everybody else that's tuned in who has not shown their name, we still appreciate you. Feel free to just drop us a message so that we know you're there. Let's see who's over there on Facebook. Nobody is showing their names just yet, but we welcome you all the same. And if you're watching on the replay, we're so happy that you took the time to do so. We really appreciate you. She Stole My Thunder has just arrived, so welcome to you again. Welcome to you, She Stole My Thunder. We're just going to I'm going to drop and come back. Okay, so we're just going to welcome our VIPs. Just a little message for our VIPs, and then we're going to bring up our special guest. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, guys, thank you so much for joining. Do go ahead and share with at least one or two people who may find this type of content useful, and we really appreciate you for that. Hey, Barrington Spence is here. Welcome to Barrington Spence. Yes, I'm here. Houston, Texas is in the house. All right, so we're just going to welcome our VIPs, and then we're going to get right into it. Okay, guys, here we go. All right. Yes, the live experience happened last month, so we're all good and done with that for now. We're going to do another live experience probably in the next quarter. So I'm so excited today. Again, welcome each and every one of you. Marva Riley just joined. She's also a registered nurse and the author of Share Recipe Books. So welcome, guys. Good to have you all here. Let's get into it, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and welcome our guest today. Let's get ahead and move this from the stream and bring up our guest today. Welcome, Candid Ann. How are you doing?
Hello, hello. Are you guys, you can hear me well?
I can. You sound so smooth as always. You look beautiful, my dear.
Yay, awesome. Thank you for having me.
You look awesome. You look
Thanks.
gorgeous.
Something bit me on this eye, so if it's a little bit swollen,
Ooh.
I was in the garden today and something bit me. So
Oh.
yeah.
Can't see. Can't really see. I'm zooming in, but I can't
Okay,
see
good.
anything.
Yeah, just today it bit me.
Oh, good. Good to have you. So how was your, apart from being bit by something, but how was your day been today?
Doing well, doing well. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good.
hmm
That's good. So before we get started, could you just introduce yourself? I did explain that you're a registered nurse, but just explain a little bit about yourself before we get into it.
Wow, you know, the funny thing is here on YouTube, I didn't want people to know that I was a registered nurse for 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 a long time because I've been on YouTube for years, and I had a change of career while here on YouTube. When I started off on YouTube, I was a graphics operator for investment banks, and I would make pitch book and presentations for like these major
Nice.
investment banks.
Wow.
And then I had a change. You know, you go through things, you start thinking about life. We won't get into that,
Uh-huh.
but I wanted to change my career, and I happens upon nursing. However way, we won't talk about that. I happens
Uh-huh.
upon nursing,
Uh-huh.
and that was I've been a registered nurse now for 5.5 years, like working. I think it's been 6 years actually, or over 6 years. Where I
Okay.
don't know. It took like a little while before I could find the job that I wanted.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, but I've been a registered nurse for a while now, and you know, I enjoy my job or whatever, but I also have a lot of personality, like a lot of personality, and so I don't want people to oh, she said that, she swore, she cursed, because I'm a real person. Just because
Uh-huh.
I have like, this medical or this nursing background doesn't mean
Right.
that I'm not a real person.
Uh-huh.
But others, they find me relatable. Not that I walk around cursing like a sailor, but like I'm a regular person. But yeah, I'm a registered nurse, and I love it. It's been great. It's challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly didn't expect C-19 to happen. That
Mm-hmm.
was a whole situation that was very never thought that would happen. None of
Mm-hmm.
us really did,
Mm-hmm.
and but we're still here, and still trying to serve the community, trying to make a difference. But it's hard sometimes because sometimes you feel like people don't, like, you can't do more for someone than they can do for themselves.
Mm.
So I can suggest all these different things, but if you don't do it, like, it doesn't really matter. And that's
Yeah.
frustrating because I feel like, what did I come here for? Like, if I'm going to do all these interventions until you don't do this and don't do that, and you're going to go home and do what you want anyways, then why'd you come to the hospital? Why'd
True.
you come here?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know why you came, because you're sick, but if you're undoing everything that we've worked so hard on, it feels frustrating. It's not the kind of job where you clock in, clock out, and you leave it alone. You see these people, unfortunately, over and over again,
Mm.
and you're kind of like, you're back here, and it becomes disheartening. It becomes
Wow.
disheartening. But you also get wonderful patients that adhere to the treatment plan, and they do wonderful, and that just makes you feel good.
That's amazing. And, and
Yeah.
and this is one of the reasons why we're here today, because we want the people that listen to this show to take action. Um,
Mhm.
as you know, and as many people that are watching right now know, we're in the middle of doing we're doing a series on retirement,
Mhm.
and all of the things that we're doing, it takes some action. So is that your machine or is that me?
What machine are you hearing?
I'm hearing some like chimes. Let me just.
No, I'm not doing anything.
Let's just take.
And StreamYard is the only thing. I made a mistake one time, and I was playing Bejeweled.
It sounds like a
I'm
chiming
not doing
sound.
it now.
So I wonder if that's it. It sounds like a
But I
chime.
have nothing open besides StreamYard, not even YouTube. I have nothing open. I don't want to mess up anything.
Okay. All right. So let's just continue.
You're still hearing the chimes?
No, no, not right now.
Okay.
Somebody is trying to uh invade our space today,
Yeah,
and
nasty.
she stole my thunder is here, and she's gonna help to moderate. So
Hey.
yeah, hearing charm is here too, but who knows, you two are so magical. Yeah, I'm hearing the sound as well, so I'm gonna make sure that I just make sure everything else that I might have on is closed out, just to be sure, because we want to have a very seamless show today. All right. It's the first time I've actually heard that particular sound, which is very, very weird. So, all right. So again, you guys, I'm happy to have you all, and I'm happy to have Candid Ann. Like I was saying,
Hey.
this is a show that we're taking action, that we'd like to take action. All of the different points, as far as we need to be doing our budgets each month. We need to be look trying to develop our retirement plan, which is
Mhm.
different elements. And healthcare is a very, very major part, because if you don't have good healthcare, or if you don't have good health, you may spend all of your wealth on your health and eliminate your wealth. So the two
Absolutely.
go hand in hand.
In addition to that, if you can't enjoy your wealth, like if
Ah,
you are stuck feeling so unhealthy and you have amassed all of this wealth, can you even enjoy it?
wow, that's such a key point. Such a key point.
Yeah.
So you're not hearing anything, right? You're not hearing any chimes.
No, I'm not hearing any chimes at all. Like I have nothing open.
That is
I normally
bizarre.
hear things if I have my headset on, but I don't have my headset on. What are you hearing? What kind of chimes?
Just like, just like that.
I
And
have
you, or,
nothing
and your phone
open.
is not nearby or anything like
My
that.
phone is right here. Let me move it away.
It's weird. I've never heard that before. Okay, all right. Let's
Did it
just
stop?
for now. It keeps on coming. Keeps on coming and going. I'm hearing it says Barrington.
Hmm.
All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. The magical fairies, Melissa.
Maybe I
Right?
should put my headset on. Maybe that'll help. Let
Yeah.
me.
Try that. I just heard
All
it
right.
again. I just heard it
Sure.
again.
Give me a moment. Let me go grab my headset and
All
I'll be
right.
right back.
No problem. Okay, I'm gonna drop her down for a second, just to see if we're still hearing it while she's down. It's not that bad, right? I'm here. That's right, Gary. It's not that bad, but it's just distracting. It's distracting me. I'm hearing it, says Karen. Hey, Karen, welcome. It was so good to see you at the walk on Sunday, the Sokatan. We were walking to the music of the soca music. It was such a good. Such a good thing. What does She Stole My Thunder said? Health, wealth, and wisdom are keys in life. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, trying to report the bots, but they act up quicker than I can intervene. I wonder if it could be a bot thing. I wonder if it could be a bot thing. I don't think so. You usually don't hear any audio with um with the bots. Just check your end, Melissa, to see if you have any apps going on in the background. Yeah, I just closed out everything. I'm going to close out Instagram. I'm going to close out Facebook. So if anybody's on Facebook, you're gonna have to come over to YouTube. I don't know what it is. It sounds like a sound effect. Again, it's something that I've never heard before. I have nothing else open right now. Only StreamYard and my Word document, which is my notes. That's all I have open. Victor Morgan's here. Welcome, Victor Morgan. Hey, I sent you a message the other day. Did you check it? I was Here's a secret. I'm going to tell a secret, but I was going through some old pictures, Victor, and I saw a picture of you and when all of us went to this banquet. And do you remember that? I think that might have been the first time I ever met you. And we were taking pictures in the signature grand, and also the other lady was there. What was her name from Plantation Church? But do you remember that picture? I was trying to send it to you, but I sent you a message, but you didn't respond. Welcome, welcome, guys. It's so good to have you all. That's what I had in Trinidad. So much soca, says Gary. Gary, was you there for music or were you there for your business, or both? Debt Free Dad's here. Welcome, Debt Free Dad. How are you doing? Awesome, awesome channel, Debt Free Dad. I love to watch your channel. Lots of debt free information there. Let's see. I'm going to bring you back now and see if it makes any difference. Welcome back, Candid Ann.
Oop, did you hear it when I was off?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay, hopefully you won't hear it now. I don't know what that would be, but
All right, that's fine. Let's see. She Stole My Thunder. Could be a sound effect, maybe a new sound effect on StreamYard, maybe. I don't think so, but we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what it is. Please send it. I remember. I'll send that picture. Reminiscing, I found some old pictures of a banquet I'd went to. All right, so
okay.
we want to touch on a few different parts of the healthcare discussion, and if we don't get through it all tonight, I know that you've agreed that you'll come back and do it again.
Hmm.
So that is just amazing. I'm gonna block this user again. Oh wow, they are fast tonight, man. They are fast tonight.
They
Boy.
want to get this healthcare information.
Both and awards. Okay, we'll talk about that some other time, Gary. All right, so let's go into the first element then. The first element. And again, one of the biggest problems that people have when they're talking about retirement, one of the things is having good health and having their money last. Now, if they're paying a lot of money on hospitals and medical conditions and so forth and so on, their money can run out very, very quickly. So we want to talk about some of the things that can that are important within healthcare. So should we start with some of the health insurances and plans? And I know this is not necessarily your main area, but there are some things that we can do to help ourselves that I know that you are aware of.
Yeah, I mean, so when you go to the hospital, at least if you're here in the United States, one of the things that I recommend is definitely speaking to a social worker when you were admitted to the hospital. They are going to be and I'm going to be speaking about these things quickly because we have a lot to go through. So whomever wants to write it down or
Yes.
refer back to this later, but I'll just briefly speak on it. Definitely speak to your social worker. They are the expert in knowing what programs and services and how your insurance works, because all of us have like these different insurance plans. This insurance you might have the same exact condition I have, and your insurance plan might not approve one thing and mine will, and all these different things. And there's limitations on like how many days you get at short-term rehab and how many days you get towards physical therapy and all these different factors. So definitely you want to speak to, if you are admitted to the hospital and you're having difficulty with paying or you need a program, you definitely want, those are the experts, the social workers. They are the experts in telling you. I'm not saying they're going to find magic for you. I'm saying they're going to be able to guide you.
Mm.
Okay, they don't know where the money at, right? They're not paying the bill for you, but they can guide you.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to, there's other things that we can do while we are well. And I've spoken a lot about I know you've spoken too about the FSA and HSA. Building up those plans. I mean, thing about those plans that they're helpful for maintenance, but when you get a big hospital bill, that hospital bill can skyrocket super fast. Super fast.
Wow.
But HSA and FSA, those are some of the things that you can do to prevent something. You can buy certain things on Amazon. You can build up that plan, and year after year after year, the HSA carries over. So you can build that up to purchase certain things that you might need. Like, God forbid, you broke a foot and you needed a commode, or I don't know, something, or braces or something
Right.
the hospital, your insurance doesn't cover. You can buy some of those supplies at a medical supply store, or you can even buy it on Amazon. If you literally type in FSA or HSA things on Amazon, you can buy that from money that came out pre-taxed. So it's a savings there.
Okay, that's very, very good. Social worker and your HSA and your FSA
Hmm.
plan, approved
Yeah.
items. Go to Amazon and check those out.
Hmm.
While we're taking a quick pause here, let me just also welcome Uncle Stu,
Hey.
old man on the block, and I know you've had conversations with Uncle Stu
Yeah.
and with the intentional millionaire, so I
Yeah.
know you're going to be repeating a lot of stuff. But you
That's
know
okay.
what? There's going to be a few different people that are here that may not have heard you and may not have met you, Candid Ann. So we're excited
Sure.
to have you once again.
No problem.
We also have the facts and the uncomfortable truth
My
with
brother,
Bernard
my big
S.
brother.
Absolutely awesome person. Thank you so much. He said earlier in the week, I'm definitely going to be at this one. So happy to have you. My two sisters for
That's
life.
literally my big brother.
Appreciate it. I know he's such an awesome person. So as in my haste, I blocked Uncle Stu by
Uh-oh.
mistake, but it looks like he is able to circumvent my blockage there. So thank you so much for coming back in. Um, and then he's got you an email, and you can check that out later. Um, can we talk about choosing doctors and
Mm.
choosing uh, medical facilities or anything like that? Is there anything you could shed on that?
Ooh. So here in the United States, right, there are different hospitals. That's kind of hard because you have level one, level two, level three, all these different hospitals. Some are local, some are large. Typically the very large ones are a level two or level one hospital. And all that really means is that they can do everything 24 hours around the clock. Well, I don't even want to say that because it's not 100% true. I'm trying to simplify it. They can do things that a level two couldn't do. And
Mm,
it usually means like there's a neurologist. I think that's the deciding factor. If they have a neurologist capable of being there 24 hours. I'm not 100% sure, but it's something to that effect. Where a level two is a step down and a level three, so choosing a hospital, that's kind of hard because it really depends on what you're going through. There might be a cancer center that's wonderful for you. You don't need all that neurologist and all this other stuff. If you feel comfortable at this particular specialty and they're doing their job and they're that's all they do. They don't do anything else. They're not doing broken foots. They're not doing trauma. They're not doing all this stuff. That's all they do. You might feel comfortable there. They might have the specialists there. They might have like all of the specialists that come in from all over, like there, So it really depends on what you're going through. If you're in a car accident and the ambulance usually decides like, this is too serious. We got to send you to a level 1, or we can't send you to a level 1. This is just a broken foot and we can send you to a level 2, because level 2 and level 1, like you don't need neurology, I'm not saying even neurology is a situation I think it is. I just can't remember because it doesn't really fall within what I do. But those are some of the differences. So, in choosing a hospital, I think first the most important thing is choose a doctor and find out what hospital he's affiliated with, in my opinion, and yeah, that's the easiest way. Find a doctor that you can really talk to, that you trust, that's going to, listen to you and give you the time that you want. And he's usually affiliated with a hospital, go to that hospital or ask the doctor, what hospital do you recommend for my situation?
That's really good. As for recommendations, and you mentioned something about what type of conditions they're treating, and would it be a good idea to whatever let's say for example in your family history, let's say you had cancer in your family history, so it could be based on maybe that you might decide to choose a hospital that has a lot of facilities to do with cancer. If you had cancer in your family, would that be something that you would consider?
Right. Well, I would only say that like if those screenings are something you're going to work with a doctor with. So when you approach your doctor and you're going to tell him about your whole past medical history, you're going to tell him about your family history. If something comes up, I mean, he's going to check you, probably more diligently for certain screenings because you have this medical history, you have this family history, and if something comes, he's just not going to send you to a doctor because just because you have something doesn't mean that your grandmother, it doesn't necessarily always correlate. There's just a higher
Right.
chance, a higher risk factor,
Gotcha.
but they're not going to automatically send you to some hospital just because your grandfather had some condition and you never presented with the condition at all. Why send you there? But
Right.
screening you for it, on a regular basis is definitely warranted.
Right. And screening just across the board is
Yeah.
something that you would definitely advise because prevention, once you're screening for something, it's
Yeah.
easier to pick things up
Right.
in the
So, like for
screening phase.
instance, I just finished watching James Brown with Chadwick Boseman,
Bozeman.
and I know that he, passed away really early from colon cancer. So, if he had kids, dying from colon cancer that young is it's not pretty normal.
Right.
Right. And so you would recommend his kids and his family to get screenings earlier to look out for something. I wouldn't just send them to a cancer hospital if nothing pops up, but definitely get those screenings on an earlier time.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now, something I remember you saying at one point, either in a discussion with myself or with one of the other guys you've spoken with, if you're not happy with the hospital or the facility that you're with, just what would you say?
Get out. Oh, I was about to say something rude. Get out. That's your money. You don't have, you're not stuck there.
You're not stuck there,
That's one thing.
right? Some people
Just,
feel obliged, right?
no, you don't have to. I mean, listen, this is what I want to say, right? As a healthcare worker, unfortunately, people feel as if they have the right to healthcare. And I'm not trying to tell you that you don't have the right to care, but this is not your living room at the second. So people come here, I want this, and you can do, and like this attitude. I'm not saying do that.
Uh-huh.
If you feel like your needs are not being met
Yeah.
and you're asking the questions and you're not getting the answers that you feel like you want, then you can go someplace else. You absolutely have to get a second and third opinion that is completely within your rights.
Well, I'd also say with that, what if, for example, the person or the facility you're speaking with, they're they they're not able to communicate very well. Maybe it's a different. They're speaking a different language, and and you may not even be like. It's a particular instance that I'm talking about.
Oh,
The doctor doesn't speak English well. It's not their first language. and then there's a person who also doesn't speak English very well, a completely different language.
Yeah.
So the communication is not very good, and
Right.
for that reason, I would say might be a good idea to choose a different doctor, not
Oh,
because
wait, 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 wait.
ooh,
Don't go just yet. So
okay,
this might be a great facility, and
yes,
a language barrier should not be the deciding factor. There are medical interpreter services that are available to you. They have
oh
like these little iPads because this has been something, this is a melting pot.
wow,
America's a melting pot.
yes,
And so they have like a slew of different languages. There's been only a few times in which that the device that we use at the hospital that's on every single unit. I've never been on a unit and that has not had this machine. And you just hit a button and you can get someone that speaks Spanish, French, Cantonese, whatever it is.
yes,
Just a few languages have we not been able to have. And in that case, sometimes a family member might come by that speaks that one language to
uh-huh,
help. But you got to really be careful with that because family members are not medical interpreters. It's the hospital's job to find a medical interpreter. And we say that because, suppose that's my mom and the doctor tells me some horrible news. How do I know that I'm going to tell my mom what the doctor says?
it's
Like,
true.
I might translate it in the way that I
And it just
feel like.
right, and you may just with with somebody's limited understanding, they might interpret it in a way which is not
Right.
actually quite correct.
That's not what the doctor said. And so the doctor's there. He doesn't know. He's hoping that you said it. So
Yeah,
it's really on the facility to find a translator or to somehow find a way to bridge that gap. So that's not the only reason why you would want to jump ship so quickly because that they might have wonderful services. That's
right.
that's something called a healthcare barrier.
Oh, okay, a healthcare barrier. I like the way how you said that.
Yeah.
Barrier. I'm making
There's
notes.
all kinds of different barriers. We got
As we're
financial
talking.
barriers, we got physical barriers, cognitive barriers. It's just a language thing that we use in terms of, something that makes it difficult to treat you.
Right.
You know,
As we're speaking, I'm actually making notes. Additional notes, I should say. There's one more thing as far as the hospitals. You also mentioned like being a part of the same network is sometimes a good thing because
yeah.
the hospital is connected with the doctors and so forth. Could you just expand on that a little bit more?
So, I mean, this is not a do or die kind of thing. It's just that, like, you know, you should be working mostly with your primary care physician.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are part of the same network, they will then have access to the files, the MRIs, the x-rays, the CT scans, what was done, what your blood pressures were, what medications they gave you, the notes from the time you entered the hospital to all the notes, my notes that I wrote about you, everything, it's all there. So when you go back to the doctor and you're like, oh, my husband, he was in the hospital recently. The doctor has the opportunity to go, oh, let me check on what's going on with such and such. He's been my patient for 15 years. He might be able to call the hospital and say, listen, this guy is not speaking right now, but normally this is his background for 10 years. This is, they can work together. So I'm not saying that's the only deciding factor. I'm just saying it helps a lot
Mm-hmm.
if you're a doctor who knows you. You could be completely out, and they can give you a history of, they've had a 5-10 year history, even a 2 year history of what you've normally been like. Are you normally anxious? Do you speak? Because some people are nonverbal at baseline, that they just don't talk. There could be a slew of different reasons. So, as opposed to we finding you on the street, we've had people that we found in the parking lot, just confused, didn't know where they were at. They were just driving and
Wow.
suddenly became confused. We have no history. And thank God the social worker would look up, I mean, like a detective trying to find out information about you. So I'm just saying, it kind of helps a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
really, really can help a lot if
Yeah.
they're able to touch base with the doctor and get information. Some people don't even know what medications you're on. They're like, oh, the green pill, the purple one, and if the doctor
True.
is able to have your medical record there, they can send those things over
Yeah.
and change things if it doesn't work well. Like the hospital might prescribe something for you, and you might take it and you might have these side effects that you don't like. Your doctor moving forward can switch things around. So
Mm-hmm.
it just helps a lot.
Really good information. I'm going to take Debt Free Dad's question in
Yeah.
a second. Um, So again, if you're just joining us tonight, this is MJ Live. It's the Retire Ready Research Series, and we're talking with Candid Ann, who is a registered nurse,
Yeah.
sharing all things medical and nursey and doctory. I'm making up words here, but and we're
I gotta
happy
be on
to
my
have
best
her.
behavior. I
Yeah, I
can't be
know, right?
candid. Just gotta be Anne.
Just add today. But this information is not necessarily specific to being retired because healthcare is for everybody. But we're doing a series on retirement, and healthcare is a big part of that. So we just want to talk about some things that can help for your health in retirement, as well as just general life. Because if you don't have good health when you're retired, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, and most
You
of the
want to
patients that come to us are people that are retired, like young. We don't really get a lot of
really.
young. Yeah, in the hospital, we don't get a lot of young people. People
Oh,
that are 25, like if I have a floor of 30 patients,
uh huh.
eh, we'll refer to the young one because it's one
Because
young person. When I say
well,
young, I'm talking about 30, 40 years old. Everyone else is like 70 something, 80
wow.
something, 190.
So
It,
maybe
all,
maybe you could actually give some insight
yeah.
to the whole retirement or that age group that we haven't even thought about. So what just think about that as we're going through. If there's anything
Okay,
that's specific to the older population, maybe we can talk about that as well. So
sure.
let's go ahead and take Free Dad's question or comment. In every hood, there are hospitals to avoid. I had a ruptured aneurysm.
Wow.
I was like, no, don't take me to this hospital. Take me to the good
Okay,
hospital.
so that's valid. That is
Yes,
very valid.
yes.
I'm from the Bronx, and look, let's be realistic here. You know, when you are in a certain neighborhood, I'm trying to say this and still have a job tomorrow, right? This is the conundrum that healthcare is in. Hospitals have to see you no matter if you have insurance or not. But I'm going to get paid. Like I don't work for free.
Right.
The doctor, he has student loans. He's got a family. He doesn't work for free. Like all of the staff members, the x-ray tech, the transportation people, dietary services, the sanitation people, all of your nurses, you have a nurse around the clock, right? All of us have to get paid,
Mm-hmm.
whether you have insurance or not. Like you might be homeless, you might be without insurance, you might be whatever your case might be. The hospital still has to they have a duty to make sure that you are out of, like, I don't know what the right wording is, like you are not in any harm. Like they're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna fix everything, but then to make sure that you are at least not in any major harm, right?
Yeah.
And so whether you have insurance or not, whether you are a immigrant or just undocumented or just don't have insurance, they
Or
still have to take you,
homeless.
all of it, right? So what happens then? Like everyone, so unfortunately, the hospital might have started off wonderful, but if you have a high population of this situation in a neighborhood going on, like it takes services, it takes money, it takes resources out of the hospital,
Uh huh.
and unfortunately it becomes this situation in which it becomes difficult to keep up. I don't work on the back end of things in terms of understanding how all the finances work and what the government gives it. I don't know it all. I
So
just know that a lot of the money that the hospital get is not from private insurance. It's usually from Medicare and Medicaid. That's like the majority of the money from seniors, right? And so if you don't fall within that category, I mean, private insurance is fine also. They're going to take it, but the majority of their money comes from Medicaid and Medicare. And so if you don't fall within those categories or you don't have private insurance, they still have to make sure, they have a duty to make sure that you come in and says, I have chest pain. They can't say, do you have insurance? Or you don't have any insurance. Unlike other countries, you could be there bleeding to death. And until you
wow.
run your card, you could have a broken whatever. They'll say, where's your credit card? Credit card. America, we don't do that. So
It,
what he says has some validity.
yeah.
It doesn't happen because there's just crap hospitals, but it becomes a situation in which there's no resources, and I can't come to work for free. You know, it
Yeah.
costs me money to get these letters
Yeah.
behind my name.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you saying then that, let's say for example, a homeless person, for example, came to the hospital, they had a life-threatening situation. The facility will get you to the point where you're not in danger of your life, and then that's it. Then what happens to them after that?
That's a social work question. I don't know
Oh,
exactly, you
okay,
know, to get them
got you.
ready for discharge. Sometimes we try to
Okay,
find them the family. I've had homeless people that's like, I'm homeless. I prefer to be on the home. Don't call my sister in California.
yeah,
I don't want to go live with her. I
that's
know she's
true.
offering me a place to stay. She'll come and fly me out, but I choose to live this way. Leave me alone. You know,
Right.
they'll try to find a safe place for you to live, but you know, I don't know how that all works out. So I don't really
Okay,
want to speak to that.
we're
You
not going to
really
get
would
into
need a
that.
social worker to
No
come
problem.
by and talk to you, because you know that's a discharge, and that's, you know,
That's
something I don't
that's
do
outside of the scope of this discussion.
outside of the scope of my practice.
Let me stay focused. I'm veering off into different
That's
different
okay.
areas.
That's
All
okay.
right, so let's continue on. Okay. All right.
But
So
can I just say one thing also?
sure,
You
sure.
can, like someone said, you can still have a job and be surprised that you will have insurance and still these services are not covered. And you're like, what?
That's
You know,
true. That's
so
true.
I don't know how that all works. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
And just to let you know as well, Candid Ann, I'm having, and for those who are watching, I'm going to be having somebody else on the show who's going to be talking about all of the different healthcare programs, the benefits,
Good.
Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare. I literally just found her the day after you and I spoke, Candida.
Good. Great.
Somebody called me up and she knows she's like she's the go-to person around here. So we're
Fabulous.
gonna
I'll
have
probably
her.
learn a lot from her.
I, I, I surely did. I really did because I'll tell you, I anyway. We're gonna get into that discussion. All right, so let's
Maybe a
move
good
on to.
one.
It's going to be a good one, definitely. Let's go into a different area. Um, there are two major conditions, and I know that you've spoken about this in length, and I'm thinking about maybe dealing with that on the
Okay.
next one. So
Hypertension, diabetes, the sugar.
there we go.
Hypertension and the sugar.
So do you want to start? Do you want to go into those two, or should we talk about healthcare surrogate, power of attorney,
Ooh,
the
I would
whole
love to talk about
wills
that.
topics
Yeah.
first? Should we
I
get
would
into
love to
that?
talk about that.
Let's get into that then.
Yeah.
And the first thing that I want to get into with that is really just having good medical records and for yourself. So could we start there?
Yeah, definitely. You know, so as you're talking about retirements and plans and stuff like that, one of the things that we don't want to talk about is end of life. You know, what to do with me? God forbid something were to happen to me. Should I pass out? Should I have a heart attack? Should you resuscitate me? Do I want CPR? What do you want? It's a hard discussion. Like, it's something that people put off. I've had patients that were 90 something years old and they're like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. And you're like, um, you're like 90 something years old. It might be kind of time to talk about that
I
stuff with
know.
your daughter, with your husband, with your whomever you have left. And so those are some hard decisions. And one of the things that I have a story, and I'm not going to tell the story right now, but one of the things I want people to do is to know that it is not, and this is my personal opinion, you can take it with a grain of salt, but I've seen a lot. And if you want me to get into the story, I can. But I would really recommend people to make the decision for yourself.
Mhm.
You know, sit down one day, decide what you want. Decide what you want. Write it down. Go to a lawyer, whatever you want to do, write it down and make the decision yourself. Do not leave your choices up to your father, your husband, your sister, or anyone else. And the reason why I tell you this is you think that, oh, my husband will know what to do. Oh, my sister will know what to do. It is an incredible burden to put on someone. They're faced with the news of, oh my God, there was an accident. Like, what do I do? Do I pull the plug? I don't know. Like that guilt of like trying to decide, did I do the right thing? Like maybe she would have made it if I didn't act so hastily. Like there's an incredible guilt and like burden that you put on someone. You know, don't put someone through that trauma. It's so much more easier It is so much more easier if you make the decision, and this way your family can honor your choices. You take that burden off of them. You said, you know what? This is what mom wanted. She wrote it down. She spoke to me about this, and I'm going to honor what mom said. It is so much more easier. I'm telling you, when it comes to your wills, your power of attorney, please, I don't care how old you are. I let people know, don't resuscitate me. Even right now in my young age, right? I don't want to be resuscitated. I don't
Really?
want to be. Yeah, I don't want to be.
That's
I don't want to
interesting.
be. Because I've seen CPR. I've done CPR. I know what it is. It's not like in the movies where you just, you know, oh, you know, oh, it's not. I'm
Wow.
crushing your ribs. I'm not lying to you. I want to curse, but I'm not trying not to so bad. I'm literally crushing your ribs, right? Because when you think about, let's not get into that, right? Right? It is hard.
Actually, can we get into that? Because
Into CPR, sure. If you
you're
want to
talking
talk
about
about it, if you
something
want to
that,
go there.
because most people, I can't speak for most people, but I
Hmm.
think that I'm kind of well versed with a lot of things, and this is something that's kind of new to me. There's a couple of things already that you spoke about tonight that's new to me. So
Mm.
uh, I think that if it's new to me, it's going to be new to a lot of people
Sure.
too. So
Okay.
let's get into it a little bit. I don't mind if it's gruesome.
It's a little gruesome. Well, it's a lot gruesome. So here's the thing, right? CPR. CPR is done, when your heart stops, right? Um, so whatever you had a heart attack, this is like if you got shot, then don't do CPR because the blood's gonna squirt out through the hole, right? That's not a time you want to do CPR, right? But so not every situation calls for CPR. This is a person that did not get, no outside squirting, no trauma, just some like your heart stopped, you had a heart attack, something happened, you're not breathing, you drowned, whatever, anything like that, eventually your heart stopped, right? So your heart is responsible for flowing the blood throughout your body and your brain, right? So you have a vein that comes up through here and goes to your brain, and then one that squirts out and goes throughout the rest of your body. So your brain needs to function, and the rest of your body needs the tissue and all the organs need oxygen and all that kind of stuff, right? So when you and I take a breath, right, your chest goes out,
Right, right. Mm-hmm.
but you're not breathing. You're not going like this. So the only way I can get your heart to stop is to do the opposite. I'm pushing it in.
Oh, right,
I'm
right.
pushing it down,
Yeah.
right? And your ribs were made to go like this. They're not
Okay,
made to
okay.
go like this. So, but you can survive a couple of broken ribs. You will not survive without a heart. Your brain will not survive without oxygen. You will be brain dead if I don't get oxygen to your brain within a
Uh-huh.
certain amount of seconds. You might survive.
Right, right.
Your body might still survive, but you might be brain dead. That might be the results of not doing it fast enough, or
Got you.
who knows how long you were out. There's a lot of things that could happen to you. So in trying to do those compressions, like, you have no choice. I'm not saying that the goal is to break your ribs. I'm just saying that, like, it's just what happens. So if you were to when people that do survive, they usually have broken ribs, and it's you can't, like a cast, you can't put like a cast on. It's just something you have to deal with. Like, your ribs just have to heal. You can't put anything around it. You just gotta wait it out, so it's
Okay.
painful, but at any rate, it's not easy. It's not like in the movies where people just get CPR and they start coughing, they get up and start walking again. It's not. There's a recovery period.
It's not like that.
No.
Would you advise people to take CPR classes?
Absolutely. I absolutely recommend, especially if you have young children. Why
Oh,
not?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I would recommend, if you have young children, they're out playing by a pool, anything could happen. Like I said, you can recover from some broken ribs. Especially the younger you are, you have that capacity you're making brain cells. You're in a growth period, right? Unlike us, we stop growing, and so anything for us that gets broken is a repair. But kids, they're naturally growing, they're making muscle, they're making neurons, they're making all kinds of cells and things like that. So
Okay.
they recover usually better. But
Mm-hmm.
not that you want to do CPR on a child
Mm-hmm,
ever,
mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
if they were to drown, or any accident were to happen, why not? Absolutely. It's just, why not? There's no reason not to.
Okay. Really, really great information I'm getting. I'm still making notes, guys. Listen, if you're here, get out your notepads or definitely um, plan to rewatch this live. This is Candid Ann. She's a
Hey,
registered nurse and she is helping us with our Retire Ready live series. And this one is all focused on healthcare, and we're on the section where we're talking about healthcare surrogate, power of attorney, and wills, etc. Let me just give a couple of more shout outs and take a couple of more
yeah.
questions before we
Great comments
continue.
in the section you got going on
Yeah.
here. Wow.
Karen Millwood Volk. I was healthcare surrogate. The DNR decision was one of the most difficult experiences of my life. Wow. If you want to
That's
expand
do
a
not
little bit,
resuscitate.
yeah,
DNR means do not
do not
resuscitate. And so
resuscitate.
it's so difficult when you have to make that choice with
Oh,
someone because you don't know if it's the right thing to do or not.
is this something that you have on your driving license or no? Is this?
No, it's when you go to the hospital, they ask you every single time, like, do you want to be resuscitated? And you can do partial CPR. I mean, I'm sorry, partial, what's called ACLS. So you might decide, don't do CPR on me, but you can give me medications. If it's something as simple as giving me a medication, but don't do CPR, but you can intubate me, or don't put a tube down my throat, but just give me cardioversion. If you can't do it through cardioversion, and medications, or if you can do BiPAP and pressors, but don't do, yeah, you can decide what you want, but do not resuscitate. DNR means that don't give me anything.
Mm,
If you're walking by and you realize that I am out, do not call a code. Just let me go. Just let me
that's
go.
interesting. I'm gonna have to think about that some more.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Bath Fountain in St. Thomas, Jamaica. Good to have you again, my brother
Hey,
Josh.
we got the
Oh, we'll just call him
island people. I
Josh.
love the island people in here.
Where
Yes.
are you from,
I was
Candida?
born here in the United States, but my family, my father, my mother, my grandmother, I'm the first born child here, but my family's from the island of Barbados. So, I love the
Barbados.
islands.
I've been to Barbados myself, so I love the
Yeah.
islands as well. So
Big
and
up.
also I think I saw also Vaughan Nemard.
Mm.
Oh, this is boy, this is Sean. Hey, Sean. I like your picture. You look all very distinguished. He was
Handsome guy.
very
Mm.
handsome guy in this picture. Very, very much. Anyway, before I go into you, Sean, big shout out to Gail at night. How you doing, Gail? Thank you so much for joining us and just jumping straight into the moderator role. Really, really
Yes.
appreciate you.
And happy early birthday.
Oh yes, happy
Come.
birthday! I think I saw the post on Insta about that. Yes, please do subscribe to Candid Ann, my lovely guest
Thank you.
co-host tonight, providing such great information. We have and our numbers are good considering it's a Tuesday night, which is not my normal night. So we're really, 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 really good for that. Happy for that. And then also good to see you both. Vaughn Bryant
On.
is in the building.
Love
Amazing.
on.
Beautiful voice, the voice of Vaughan Bryant. Haven't heard you speak for a while. I need to
He's
go
got a wonderful voice as well.
as well as you, because you sound so sweet.
I think it might be the microphone.
The microphone sounds good. Andrea Dixon, hello, darling. How are you doing? She was at Jerk Fest. Do you know Jerk Fest? I think they have it in. It goes to New York as well. Do you know what Jerk Fest is,
I mean, I
Candida?
can imagine what it is, but I
Yeah,
don't know about a jerk festival. I would love to go to one.
it's a Caribbean
Jerk
festival.
chicken, yeah, jerk meat,
Yeah,
everything. I would
jerk
love that. Really had that.
everything jerk.
Canada?
It's in but have it in South Florida, but it's also they also do it in I'm sure they've gone to New York. I think they have Jerk
Oh,
Fest in New York as well. Maybe like the Caribbean conference festival that you have in New York. What is it called? You have a
oh, you talking about the West Indian Day Parade?
yeah, the West Indian Day Parade. I
That's more
guess
of a festival. I mean, on the night before they have Juve, where they have like a lot of food and different islands have, you have Haiti, you have Guyana, you have Barbados, Trinidad and
uh
Tobago, all kinds of foods and stuff like that the night before. It's like a party the night before the party. And then I haven't gone to it in a while, but I have attended and it's a lot of fun.
okay.
Then you have all the different bands playing music and
Oh,
people dancing behind the bands and costumes
oh,
and stuff
get you.
like
It's like a
that.
parade. I
It's
remember
like a
now. I
parade. It's
remember.
definitely a parade.
Yeah, this is like a
Hold
stage
on.
which has
I'm gonna-
different.
I'm here.
Yeah, it's a stage that has a lot of different bands come on, and they have all the different food, the different food vendors and so forth. So it's a big thing that happens here every year, Jerk Fest, and also
Okay.
Who did I also see coming in here? Debbie Banner. Hello, Debbie Banner. Good to have you here with us. And congratulations on all the amazing things she does. I called her my angel. Like I told you, we did our event, Retire Ready Live experience
Okay.
last month. And she calls me up in the morning and just asked me, Melissa, do you need any help with anything?
Oh,
This
that's
is the kind
wonderful. You
of
got a
person
community.
Debbie is. She's just amazing, and she helped me with the backdrop. She went and got made sure we had a backdrop for the
That's
photos. Just
wonderful.
amazing. Shout out to Gail at Night again. Thank you for the birthday wishes. It was yesterday. Oh, it was yesterday.
Oh,
Awesome,
happy
awesome.
belated then.
Please like, share, subscribe, support, and if you feel so inclined, you can drop a cash up. It's very welcomed as well. So again, thank you so much, Debbie. And Debbie's going to be getting an award at an event because she just does such amazing things. So she's going to be getting an award. All right. So let's get
Okay.
back into it. There was a comment from Sean. We'll call him Sean.
Hmm.
Had an aunt who passed away recently. She was so secretive about everything. She died from cancer, so she had time to plan. Was one of those people who don't want people in their business. So yeah.
And some people are like that, but as long as, I mean, if she had time to plan, it takes the responsibility off of the family. It takes the fighting sometimes. No, we want to bury mom over here. No, she wants to be buried
Mm,
back at home. No, why we have to put this headstone? That's cheap. I mean, all these different things that, funerals cost a lot of money, these arrangements. I don't know much about all of it, but we all have to face it. We all have to face it. I've had,
mm,
one very close aunt, two actually passed away, and one of them, both of them, they had everything planned. I mean, they lived in Canada,
mm-hmm,
but everything, even the headstone was purchased, the
mm,
plot, everything. But she had sickle cell, so she knew that this
mm,
time was coming.
mm,
Sickle cell is a disease that most African American, especially Caribbean people have,
mm,
and so my aunt passed away of sickle cell disease, and so she was able to plan everything, but not everything. It's not always like that.
mm,
It's
mm.
not always like that. And I've had some horrible situations in which people came to the hospital and they were like, I don't know what to do. My husband will take care of it. And when the time came, the husband did not know what to do. The husband was looking at us like, what am I supposed to do? We're like,
Wow.
well, it's up to you. We can't tell you what to do. And the husband's looking for answers. And I can't tell you, make her DNR. I can't tell you. That's not my place.
Oh wow.
You know, I can read the labs and I know this is not survivable.
Oh
I can read certain labs and like, this is ours here, you know. But
wow.
so I just really recommend people to make your own choice and save your family some of that grief.
Well, that was the next point. Mental and emotional stress.
Hmm.
Um, when I had the live event, we actually had professionals in the area of wills and trusts. We had um, we had funeral. We had a lady who does funeral planning, pre-planning for
Wow.
funerals. So we had the whole gamut of experts, and as much as we don't want to face it's something that we need to talk about a lot more, and that's why even I am still kind of nervous. I have all the paperwork. I haven't completed it yet, but the more we talk about it, the more it gets normalized, the more it's going to get better to deal with it ahead of time, because I want to be one
Hmm.
of those people who have that all taken care of. So
Yeah.
it's in the works.
Hmm.
It's in the works. But mental and emotional stress, could you just expand on that a little bit more, and even
It's
even tell that story that you were thinking about telling, if it's
so.
appropriate.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, there was a patient that came to the hospital. The patient, I can't tell, exactly what happened, but the patient walked into the hospital, didn't know that they were gonna die. All
Mm,
right. They didn't know, like, I'm
mm,
gonna walk into the hospital, I don't feel well. And we're like, you have like cancer and it's spread and like you're not gonna make it, like
you're not gonna make it.
bad, like
Mm,
you're like, so the person walked in there and the question was asked, and let me tell you, doctors are not the best at this. They will just casually ask you, "So what do you want?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't know. I'll think about it." And I really feel like sometimes they should like kind of have a conversation. But this is something you should talk to your primary care physician about,
Mm-hmm.
to explain. This is something where I want you to work with your primary care physician to really explain all the different things. But, the doctor comes in there, "What do you want?" They're like, "Oh, I don't know. My husband will take care of it." And throughout the night, this person walked in there and just was in excruciating pain, like moaning and just really, really, we did everything we could. And the thing about certain things like cancer and certain disease processes like sickle cell, when you have a flare up from sickle cell, there's certain processes that we have to give you a PCA pump where you have like morphine dripping into your body,
Oh, okay.
right? And it's regulated because we know that you're in a lot of pain, like a
Mm.
sickle cell crisis, a flare up, certain things like lupus flare ups, or cancer, depending on where the cancer, certain flare ups. Um, or disease processes, they are painful. They are freaking painful,
Mm.
right? And so the thing about it is, if you are a full code, like you want us to do everything, like you don't know what you want, so we're going to venture, we're going to go on the side of give them everything. The
Mm-hmm.
hospital isn't going to say, "Well, it's already too bad, we can't." They're going to do everything they can. That's the default that we have. We're going to do everything we can. And so if you say, "I don't know," we're going to do everything we can. We're going to assume full code.
Mm-hmm.
And with full code, you've heard of first do no harm.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's only so much pain medication I can give you, or the doctor's going to prescribe, because these opioids, they decrease respiration and can overdose you.
Oh,
So they can only give you but so much to try to take you out of pain,
right.
but it might not be enough to take you out of pain.
Right. Right.
Right?
Right.
But they can't give you any more because it could cause
More
respiratory
harm.
depressions
Right.
and send you over, to the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But people are like screaming, "I'm in pain, I'm in pain, I'm in pain." And there's only, once you say no code, right? Oh, medications on board, keep them comfortable. We don't care anymore about, we're just trying to keep you comfortable. We're trying to make this transition as comfortable and as painless as possible. We can open the door to more meds, to more options. We can make you as comfortable as possible. And so you got to understand that with the no code and the full code, if you are in a situation in which, like sickle cell, I'll
Yeah.
talk about sickle cell because my aunt had. I don't really want to talk about the patient, but
Sure. Sure.
any situation like that. So that's something to consider. You might be in a painful situation and you're like, "They're still in pain. Can't you do anything?"
Mm.
And we're already at the top of the list in terms of things that we can give you. And
So
the
it's
person,
no
and
no
sometimes
code.
people,
What was it? No code and full code? Did you
yeah,
say?
so those are the opposite. You have full code, which give me everything that you can possibly humanly do,
Uh-huh.
medically do. That's full code. And then you have partial code, which is a arrangement of different things. And then you have no code, means do nothing at all.
Oh. Okay.
Also
Wow.
sometimes known as do not resuscitate,
Right.
DNR.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right. So,
Wow.
and there's a little bit of in between. There's partial in there as well, depending on what you want.
Okay.
But, so um, people think you can be little. I've had patients with the PCA pump, they're knocked out sleeping
Mm. Mm.
and they wake up, "Oh,"
Oh dear. It's
because they're
terrible.
in so much pain, but we're knocking them out.
Yeah.
But so much we can do. And we're counting your like, I promise you, we're in there like this,
Yeah.
counting those respirations, 'cause we want to make sure that we don't
Oh.
overdose you,
Right. Right. Right.
but I can't make you feel great again. I can't, this is just so much we can do.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
rough. It's not
So
easy.
yeah.
So
The
I just say know what you want, because if you are no code and you want your grandma, you want, if you're, I'm not, for me, I'm no, I'm no code, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be suffering. I don't want to be like crying in pain. I've wiped people tears an hour before they passed away, like just the pain.
mm,
And it's not easy. And
mm,
so I say, I'm not trying to encourage everyone, be no code, everyone. I'm just saying, like, understand the choice that you're making.
understand. Wow. This is this is information we need to
Because if it's your
know.
spouse and you're like, do something, you know,
Oh boy.
but so
You,
much.
And we might as well talk about it. We might as well face it now while we're we can. Well,
Yeah,
because if you wait until the time that it happens, you're just so
too much.
too much that you
It's too much overload. You're in
overload.
shock. It's too much.
So
You know.
as a matter of fact, I have on here mental health. I don't know if this is a part of what we're talking about here, or this is a completely different subject. Um, so you know what? I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to leave
Yeah,
the
mental
mental.
health is a specialty within itself.
Yeah.
However, it it's a part of everyday life. It's a part of, the toll that these things take on you. Even being sick in the hospital can bring you down.
Mm.
So it does, I see why you put it in there, but it can be its own specialty. It's a whole
Yeah. I'm gonna.
thing, but it also, it's like a spectrum.
Right.
You can have the blues, you can just be depressed because of this reason. It's a lot.
Yeah. We're gonna do a special show on that alone. Um.
Hold on, I gotta adjust this. Hold on.
Sure.
I'm right
Sure.
here. I'm listening.
No problem. No problem. Um. So if you're in the chat room, guys, I really appreciate you being here. We're talking with Candid Ann. Just drop me a number one if you're still engaged, you're still listening, and you're finding this very very interesting. I still have quite a few people in here, which I'm glad for. So let me just know. Let me just feel your presence with me, with us tonight. Debbie says excellent information. I really appreciate that. And we appreciate all of your support tonight. Just drop me a number one if you're finding this content very, very interested. I am. I'm making notes. I'm making tons of notes. Even though I'd made a ton of notes before, I'm still making notes as we're speaking. So I'm learning new things, guys. I'm learning new things because the better we are prepared, the better it's going to be for us in the long run. All right. So we want to talk a little bit about I have a couple of things on my list here, and you can take any one in order in the order that you want. Da, 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 okay, caregiver, caregiver stress, um, uh, caregiver stress. I've had there. Oh, the other stuff is notes that I took that I already took. You still with us, Candida?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just making a slight adjustment. I'm listening. I'm here.
Okay. So, can you talk about caregiver stress?
So if you can give me 1 minute, I'll be
Sure.
able to cam up again.
Sure,
Just
no
read a
problem.
couple of super chats, but that's a great topic. I would
Yeah,
love to talk about. Just give me 1 moment.
no problem. So, okay, shout out to It's the Sean Show. Thanks for coming in here, Sean. I know you were Sean, not as Vaughn. But I guess you're tuned in two different devices there. Shout out to Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth. That's Bernard S. We really appreciate you being here tonight. Debbie says, me too. Enjoying the information. Karen Millwood Vol. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. So you're gonna have to send me a WhatsApp and let me know how you pronounce your last name, Karen, and Debbie and Vaughn and everybody's enjoying this content. Gary Dixon, absolutely great information. He says, "It's the short." So yes, I have two ears. Anyway, it gives me more viewership if you're tuned in from two different devices. So that's great. So if anybody else has more than one device, feel free to tune in from multiple devices and multiple accounts. I'm glad for that. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about that, if you want to help the channel, go ahead and just watch back some of the other videos that I have. You can just, even if you're not able to be in front of the computer all day long, you can just let it run. Put on a video or two and just let it run. Turn the sound down and go and do other things. Go for a walk or whatever you're doing, and let me know
Okay.
that
Sorry about that. It's so hot in here. Like the temperature
oh
is boiling. And so I put this little heater on and it's been getting cold and hot because we're in like fall over here.
oh
And so
okay
I have this like hoodie on and I'm like
yes
boiling. I'm
it's
like,
boiling up.
so I was like, let me turn this thing down. Let me get some water. So my apologies,
No
everyone. I am
problem.
here. I'm
Absolutely
listening.
no
You're in beautiful
problem.
Florida, but I'm here in Connecticut and we're in the middle of fall. So the temperatures are like bouncing around. One day it's 70, one day it's like 23.
Listen, I
Whew.
used to live in New York myself. I used to live in Harlem World. I used to live in
Hey.
Harlem, As a matter of fact, the first year I moved to New York, I was living in the Bronx. I lived at
Oh,
Van.
you from the Bronx? Okay. What
Well,
part of the Bronx?
I lived in the Bronx for
What
1 year.
part?
Van Cortlandt Parkway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nice, nice little area.
Yeah, so that was the first year. The second year, I moved to New Jersey, the other side.
Mm-hmm.
It was just too much of a commute, so I ended up coming back
Yeah.
to Manhattan because I worked in 42nd Street, so it's much easier to live in Harlem. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
I
you know
spent
how
seven
fall is
years.
over here, how
It's
it could just
right, and then in my apartment, talk about the heat. In my apartment was really really hot,
yes.
which was
I'm
awesome,
like,
but it's freezing outside. Freezing outside.
I thought it was gonna be so cold. I was like, oh, let me make sure I'm nice and toasty. And now I feel like I'm about to like in the middle of the stream. So my apologies, everyone, but I'm here. I'm here. Just had to
No
take care of
problem.
something.
Hey, who's this? Delicious Catty?
Okay,
Delicious
okay.
Catty? Okay, nice to have you. Welcome to the show.
What's the
Welcome
name?
to the show. Subscribe to Candid Ann. Over
Thank you.
just type in Candid Ann on the channel. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe.
Absolutely.
All right,
So
so
you're talking about caregiver stress.
yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Wow. So this is something that, I was, I should have reached out to a few people to talk about this because I have not had to, like, my role as a nurse, I see, let me back, I have so much thoughts. I do things to you, with you, that is sometimes overwhelming for your spouse to take care
Oh.
of. For your if that's your dad, do you want to wipe his butt? Do you want to clean him when he urinates? If that's your mom and you're the son, do you want to clean? There are certain things that I do, and I'm a stranger, right? And sometimes it's easier for a stranger to take care of it because I don't know you as opposed to a family member. Oh boy, so I am because I can make a whole video on hygiene. I can make a whole video on hygiene because it's like I love it. But so I work in an acute care facility. I work at a hospital. Blah blah blah. Not every nurse works in that. You might work at a long-term health care. You might work at a senior nursing facility. Yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
Your family member might have dementia. No, get off of me. No, I don't want to take a bath. Right. I choose never to work in one of those facilities. God bless those. There's certain facilities that I don't want to work. I don't want to work in the ED. I don't want to work here. I don't work there. I could do it. That's the beauty of being a nurse.
Right.
But in one of those facilities, when you have 30, 40 patients to take care of, do you have time to fight with someone, take a bath? And so sometimes it's worthwhile I'm not saying that, I accept this. You're taking a bath. You're dealing with me taking a bath, right? You can tell me, no, I'm not interested in your no, we're doing this, right? You're going to be mad, but you're going to be clean because I'm not leaving you in your own stuff. That's not an option
Right.
for me, right? Is that an option? Is every nurse going to do that? You got 30 other patients and this person's like, no, get away from me. Get away. Spitting at you.
Yeah.
Spitting at you. Because they've got dementia. Balling up their fists. Just because they got dementia don't mean these people ain't strong.
Right.
Okay. They got the old people's strength.
I tell you, man, I take my hat off to you nurses because I've seen some patients treat the nurses so bad that it's like how do you even
Sometimes they
get
don't know
over
what's
that?
going on. Sometimes they do. It's hard. Sometimes I have to take a couple of days off just to like get it together. I realized I've probably been crying. Like normally before becoming a nurse, I actually remember the last time I cried. Now I'm on these streams like because it takes so much out of me that in order to build myself back up, I need those days off because it really there's so much that it takes out of you that you're, I normally don't even cry. I'm telling you, Melissa, I don't even cry. Since I became a nurse, I'm on these streams. It just takes so much out of you,
You have a big heart, man.
It's hard. It's hard. And sometimes you get accused of things and you're like, are you absolutely crazy? It's a lot. But let's get back to the caregiver thing because we could talk about, I don't want to talk about my problems. I want to talk about your problem, the audience's problem. Caregiver stress, it's a lot, and it's expensive. It's
Oh.
expensive to have, like, I cost money,
Mhm.
like, so that's part of, if you're saving up, I don't know what your plan is in terms of, can you have a nurse or someone that's going to come by and clean up mom every other day, or who's going to do it? Like, you're not going to, if the person poops, you can't sit in that for 2 days or even a couple of hours. Who's going to come by on a regular basis and clean this person up? If it's just, if you're a single child, it's all on you. If you have a couple of brothers and sisters, who's going to do it? And so it's definitely something that you want to think about as your parents are getting older. You need that circle of family and friends and community and people that's going to come by and help out. Some, I've seen family members that, that's my dad, and they'll clean him. My family members already know I'm not interested in your thoughts. You're getting cleaned up. If I have to clean it up, you think I'm going to do it for strangers, and I'm not going to do it for my family? Like, you're absolutely nuts here. Like, so they know I'm not interested in what you're going to say. You could fight, you could spit, you could do whatever you like. I'm cleaning you up. You already know this. My family members
Mm.
know this, but everyone is not me. And I certainly don't know, if I wasn't a nurse before I became a nurse, would I fight to clean up my brother? Like, if he's saying, no, leave me alone, I don't want you to see me like this, like, who do I find then? Do I want to give him his privacy? Like, what do I do? Is there anyone else? Can I afford this? So caregiver stress is really difficult,
Yeah.
and it's something that we have to think about,
Yeah.
especially as our family members get older. They might be facing, a disease process that takes a while, like Parkinson's. Like, it's going to,
Yeah.
get, it progresses.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hodgkinson's, certain, I'm sorry, Huntington's. Hodgkinson's is a disease, is a cancer, but Huntington's, not a lot of people have that, but it's also something that progresses,
Mhm.
and it takes away your mobility, and it's a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
Like I said, sickle cell. A lot of things that some of us Black and Caribbean people have. A lot of sickle cell disease is prevalent in our community, so it's
Yeah.
something that you want to talk about.
Okay. Wow, this is deep, guys. Let's see, what else do we have under that? Okay, just to sum up this section of
Mm-hmm.
healthcare surrogate, power of attorney, wills. Do you want to say anything else about this particular topic? I don't have any more notes on this.
Well, just in general, if people have comments and questions, please, send them to Melissa. If you have questions, drop a Q in the chat and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. But as of now, I know it's a lot of very difficult things that we spoke about in terms of talking to your loved ones, making plans for yourself, knowing the difference between full code and DNR and all these different things that you want to talk to your doctor about. It's a lot of heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, caregiver stress, who's going to take care of whomever it is. I've, even if you have autistic children, like, who's going to take care of these kids until, like, God forbid something happens to you? Who takes care of your child who's autistic and needs someone to feed them, wash them, clothe them? That's a stress that you, like, if you have an autistic child that is unable to fully, you know, feed themselves. Like, there's a spectrum. Not all autistic kids are, there's a spectrum, but some of them are bedridden.
Mm-hmm.
And so something happens to you, that's a caregiver stress. What happens to my child? What happens to my whomever? So all those things you want to think about there. And us Black people, we're not always, we want to leave up to God. Oh, the Lord will take care of it. God will provide. But I want people to be armed with, the right information, to write things down, to put those things in writing. And, because you come to the hospital and there's only so much I can do, we're going to fight for you, but I want you to be armed with information, because it's too much to process at once. We're talking about, like, all that I've spoken to you about is stuff that you can have a conversation at your home about. So when you come to the hospital and we're talking to you about this problem, you can listen to the problem and you already know your choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're trying to do too much. If it's too much to think about, if you're trying to, what, full code, and I got a CT scan, and or it's what, and
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
results, and I don't like, and who's gonna, it's just too much.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just too
Well.
much. So, help yourself by trying to figure out some of those things. And so that's just to wrap that all up. That's the purpose of us talking about this, just so that you can arm yourself with information and kind of know what you want before, having to deal with, and you're not going to know everything,
Right.
but you might have a better idea of how these things work, and it might just help you a little bit better. It might help you make a choice for your family member. It might help you make a choice with your mom, your grandpa, whomever.
Yes. Perfect. I love that. Lovely summary. Um, let's just take a couple of comments here. So
Yeah.
Sean says it is deep. I give my hats off to people in the healthcare field.
Thank you.
It is hard. So we really
Yeah.
appreciate your services that you provide for the people in the hospital and care. Gary Dixon says my mom has a carer, so we know what you mean.
My
Um,
mom has a career.
I think he meant to say carer, carer, a
Okay.
carer,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
because I
yeah.
because I know them personally. Just
Oh,
I
okay,
was just I
yeah.
was over
It's
at their
very
house.
expensive.
I was over at the house, over at Gary's house, just not Saturday, gone the Saturday before,
Hmm.
for a his Gary lives in the UK. His brother came over from the UK to spend some time with his mom, so I
Nice.
went over to see them over
Nice.
a couple of weeks ago, a week ago. And let's see what Karen says. It was really challenging being a caregiver physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Because I know that
Financially,
oh, financially?
all of that. We're talking about money, right?
Yeah, caregiver. Because I've heard
Ooh.
that even just to like turn people over and help, move them and stuff like that, it can be really, really stressful on your back and on,
Yes. Every
do you
two
want
hours, you're supposed to move them, or they can get a bed sore. Those
bed
bed sores, if
sores,
they're not taken care of, they can lead to,
get infected?
they can be very bad and lead to septis. I mean, it's
Okay.
just, it's difficult. And sometimes the people, they don't want to be moved. They're like, no, leave me alone. But you have to move them. Even getting a special bed delivered into your home, a hospital bed. And there's all kinds of stuff. It is, I'm happy. I hope that Karen is able to, if we have time, maybe speak a little bit about it, from her side of things. But it's very challenging,
Yeah, Karen,
very
if you
challenging.
if you're up for
If
it,
she's up to,
Karen, I'm going to invite you to come up on the show and talk with us a little bit if you're up for
if
it.
she's up to it, because I know it's hard. It's very
Yeah,
hard, but it's something that people need to think about.
yeah. I mean, I'm gonna. It's hard. It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. Please be sure to click the like button. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Gail.
valuable information on this.
And follow me on Instagram. You'll if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see what I'm up to. I do a lot of celebrating. I think life is for
That's
celebrating.
right.
I don't need very many excuses to celebrate. And so you'll see my pictures. You'll see parties or events. I did a 5K over the weekend. It was
Ooh,
to soca music. So it was
there you
a walk,
go.
dance,
Uh, uh,
and
uh, uh. I should have been there. I
it
love
was
me some
it
soca.
was fun. It was fun. When I heard about it, I'm like, yeah, I gotta do that. My mom has a care person, um,
Yeah.
mainly physical needs.
Yeah. So sometimes people have a 24-hour care person. Sometimes people have a person that comes in just to like help out with a couple of tasks because they're somewhat independent. Sometimes it's just for 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours,
Mm.
or maybe it's just overnight when the person goes home because they live with a daughter. It all depends. It all
And
depends.
and what's so good about Gary's mom is that she's in her own home. She's in her own home. The
Yeah.
the people come into her home and give her the care, because the other side of that is going into a facility. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. Is that
So
along
listen,
along the lines or no?
Caribbean people don't like sending like my mom was like, "Don't put me in a home. Don't put," because they think that it is so disrespectful to put your parents into a home, right? But it might be the safest place, you know. I don't know Gary at all, but not everyone's house is equipped with the things that are needed. Like if you live in an apartment on the third floor and
Yeah.
you don't have a washer and dryer in the building, and all these different factors come into play on, is it safe to have this person at that house? Is this a
Uh-huh.
safe discharge? When I say safe discharge, I mean from the hospital to whatever place they're
Uh-huh.
going.
Yeah.
And so if your grandmother fell 4 times last week and she was on the floor for 2 hours until you got home, which happens all the time, on
Wow.
the floor, covered in feces, covered in urine, bleeding, blah, blah, on the floor for hours until you got home.
Mm-mm.
Is this where you want her to be? Or do you want
Right.
them to be someplace where there's people around?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, in addition, I'm talking about grandma, but suppose grandpa weighs a lot of, suppose grandpa is big. If he's 400, 200, he's tall, 6'5". Oh, I remember I never met my grandfather, but I'm just acting here, right? Oh my God, my grandpa, he was 6'2", such a strapping soldier. Are you going to be able to lift that 6'2" strapping soldier should he fall? Even if you're home, can you get him off the floor? Is there
Okay.
anyone there that can get him off the floor?
Right,
You got to
right.
think about all those different things. I've had people come to the hospital, um, and they're like, no, 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 we're not taking our grandfather. We're not taking our father. And no facility, no facility. And less than 24 hours, the the patient was back in the hospital. Why? Fell, and the family members could not get this person off the floor. So they had to
Whoa.
call EMS and circle back and come to the
Wow.
hospital. And the hospital has to make arrangements. You have to go to a facility now. You have to
Wow.
go to
Wow.
short-term rehab. You got to go somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh
so I
boy.
get it. I get it that people don't want to put their people in facilities because they're you read the news about all the abuse and things that happens, but it's kind of like that doesn't happen all the time. Like I'm sure there's like every single day people are out here. We do so much.
Mm.
That the few stories that happen, they give us all a bad name, but most likely people are doing, bringing coffee, bringing Starbucks for your family members. We're going out of our way to bring them goodies, and if they're
Mm.
allowed to, we're doing whatever we can to make them as comfortable as possible.
Wow, we're getting such great information, and people are really enjoying this stream tonight. Let me just give a big shout out to Suzette Speaks, who just joined the room.
Hey, Suzette, I
Salute
gotta touch
to
base with
the
Suzette. Oh,
beautiful
yeah.
ladies. Happy to see this collaboration. So happy to see you.
Hmm.
Suzette Speaks also right here in South Florida area. She's been
Yeah, I love
traveling
that
and doing
picture.
all
So
kinds of stuff.
cute. Such a beautiful woman.
I know. This is just a cool picture, right?
Big up,
And
big up.
also, thank you for the congratulations on the 5K. It was more like just a fun run, man. It wasn't. I don't even know if we reached 5K, but we were just dancing and having fun. Um, let's see, and also following Candid Ann now. L- let's all
Oh,
follow her,
thank you
guys.
guys.
She is so amazing.
Oh,
She
thank
she
you, Mr.
really is.
Gary. I appreciate that.
And that's why I had to have her on my show, because I heard Candid Ann speak on Intentional Millionaire. I heard her speak on Uncle Stu, maybe one or two other places, and I'm like, man, when Candid Ann is in her zone, she just speaks, and you just know that she's just speaking from experience and knowledge. And
Thank you.
skill, so I just had to have her here. So I
I get
really,
afraid to come on here. I don't make videos on my own channel as often because I'm a little bit afraid of, like I said, I have a lot of personality and I want to tell people the truth, but I also want to go back to work. All right. So sometimes I think, sometimes, sometimes I want to tell people that, find a retired nurse. If you really want the inside, you want find a
oh,
retired nurse because they don't
because you ain't
owe
got
the
nothing to lose.
hospital anything. They can tell you everything while I'm over here trying to choose my words and not
Right.
all this stuff. And I'm still telling you the truth,
Yeah.
but I'm skating around some
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay, that's fine. I think we pretty much got the gist of what you're saying. Facts. My grandfather was a big man, says
Yep.
Sean. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hope you appreciate you ladies. No problem. All right. So we have about 30 minutes just to
Yeah.
to go into one other topic, because I think
Sure.
we're not going to get a chance to do the hypertension and diabetes. So let's go
Yeah.
into
Hmm.
um prevention, and we're talking about dietary considerations and fitness. So let's talk about how we can prevent our some of the illnesses that can come upon us.
Right. This is
And
a topic that nobody wants to talk about.
this is I
The
tell you,
numbers are about to drop. Listen, the numbers are gonna drop because
don't say that, don't say that, don't say that. This is
listen, this is the thing. Like, this is the thing. I've said this so many times before. There's no secret to like diet and exercise. You can call it nutrition and exercise, whatever, right? You can call it whatever spin off you want to call it. There's no secret. We got the fit tea, we got like the whatever, all kinds of different things that people are trying to shortcut, right? There is no secret, right? It is nutrition. You want to call it a diet, call it a diet. You want to call it nutrition, you want to call it whatever you want to call it. You want to call it the meal plan, food, right? What kind of foods do you eat? And living an active lifestyle as much as possible. Which sucks because nobody, I mean, most people, I don't want to say nobody, but most people don't like getting to the gym. But I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you that those people that either have a physical job or that make an effort. And you don't have to make this, no one's telling you that you have to come out being this muscle bound person, right? This is about cardiovascular health. This is about like strengthening. This is about your bones not breaking. Like by strength training, it builds bone density so that God forbid, as you get older and you were to fall, you don't break something. I've worked on like a floor that everything was broken. Like whether you had a car accident, grandma fell, whatever, broken hips, broken every whatever bone you can think of, and it's painful. Oh my God, like you can't even turn, but it's like so painful. But and I'm not telling you that like going to the gym is going to prevent you from having a broken hip. What I'm saying is studies have shown, and when I say studies, I mean like time after time after time after time. You can compare people of the same age, of the same region, of the same household or whatever. One person participated in strength training, the other person didn't. And when you take a look, a scan at their bone density, there is a significant difference. So God forbid you were to fall, you slip on some ice, whatever. We don't heal as wonderfully when we're older as opposed to younger. Right, so the exercising and the cardio, it's not just to look good. I mean, hey, we want to look good. I know I want to look good, right? But it really prevents you from like people that have diabetes. Going to the gym. It will. I've seen it. That physical exercise will help to regulate your blood sugar just by exercising. I'm not saying that you don't have to take medications anymore. I'm saying that it helps. You will see your blood sugar, you're burning energy. And so your blood sugar comes down. How amazing is that? That just exercising helps bring your blood sugar down?
Interesting.
Like, like God made this a certain way. Like, well, I'm just telling you the truth, right? So it's just important, and you don't have to do this whole huge thing. A 45 minutes 4 days a week is great. If you can do more, great, but at least do that much. And if you have to start off by just a vigorous walk, okay, start off there, but keep challenging yourself. If you can do that for a week or two and then try to jog, don't just keep it at the same walk. Try to jog, try to challenge yourself. If you jog one and then walk one, and then, I at my house, I was doing my jump rope. Great exercise. Doesn't even cost you anything. Do it right here in my house, just jumping rope. And I was worn out. I'm like, I don't remember it being this hard when I was a kid. I was but it takes endurance, and then you're working your upper body by using the rope. Sometimes there's a weight you can put in the rope. The ropes have different weights to it. You can have a beaded rope, you can have a wired rope, all kinds of different things. You can start doing tricks. Double unders and all kinds of crossovers. Yeah, you can make it fun. I love my music. I have my soca music, I have my ratchet rap music, I have whatever kind of music that I like, and it just I'm in there going. I'm not saying you have to, if you want to run a marathon, you certainly can. That's wonderful also, but there's so many options. Find the thing that you like. Maybe jumping rope is not for you. Maybe you like running, but just find the thing, as long as it's some kind of physical exercise. And strength training. Women, ladies, strength training is also for you, right? We can lift, we can work on our arms, we can try to, you're not the guys that gotta do all that kind of stuff, but we can still lift, we can still do things to help with our shoulders. And you saw Angela Bassett, if you've seen the movie, you see how beautiful her shoulders were, and how they just look gorgeous and elegant and stuff like that. That's strength training. It's not that she's over here pushing the whole gym or anything like that, but it's wonderful. So, and you will feel better. And speaking of mental health, it releases endorphins.
That's true.
It releases endorphins. There are times where my brother himself, he's like, once he goes to the gym in the morning, he just has energy.
Mm.
He's like, even if I don't feel like going, he goes anyways. And he's like, no, I feel like I want to clean the house. I want to do this. It just gives him energy. It feels like you're starting off your day on the right foot. So I recommend, if you can go early in the morning and just get started. And discipline is doing what you want, doing what you have to do, whether you want to or not. So just you know, like, you're gonna get a bath with me. Like, we're not talking about it. You're gonna get the bath. Well, just go to the gym. No one asks if you wanted to or not. Just go. Just go.
Now, this, you touched on so many different things there, and I love it. I love it. As a matter of fact, I do love this topic because
Mhm.
I know that it's so good for you. Even though I don't always stick to what I'm supposed to, I go through these phases. What maybe 6 months of the year, I'm like right in there, do my exercises, eating healthily, and then other times, like right now, I fall off the
Get back
wagon,
on. It's okay.
and
Get back on.
I feel like personally, I feel like I might have an addiction. I need to deal with that. This is a sugar addiction, but that's a whole
Hmm.
other topic.
Hmm.
Maybe when we talk about diet, when we talk about the diabetes. But um, let's talk a little bit more about the foods. We talked about the dietary
Yeah.
element to it. Labels on foods, talk about the water and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm getting this stuff directly from your discussion with Intentional Millionaire.
So, Intentional Millionaire, handsome, wonderful, smart young man. I think he is vegan. And that's wonderful. I'm not saying everyone has to choose that lifestyle, and it might not be appropriate for everyone. Some people might be vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever you choose, as long as it works for you and you are getting checkup and you're getting the nutrition that you need. I think that is what is most important. Right. However, one of the things I like to tell people is, just like we have super overweight people and you can kind of look at them and be like, that don't look right. That belly's hanging over. That don't look right. There's also a bunch of bodybuilders that you would think would be the picturesque of health, and they are dropping at 45, 28, 30 years old from cardiovascular, from heart disease, because they have gone overboard. I mean, a lot of it has to do with anabolic steroids and taking, stuff, but also too much protein, like just, all this unhealthy fats and stuff like that. So I'm not saying go any one extreme. Like, we're not telling you to be obese. I'm not telling you to like have you can bodybuild, and there's a right way to do it, but I'm not just because someone looks good doesn't mean that they are in good health.
Mm,
Right.
mm,
And so, whatever you choose, I kind of think the Mediterranean diet is wonderful. And it's basically, whole grain, a lot of fish, certain types of fish like mackerel, salmon, um, what else? I think tuna. There's certain, like, fish that is really has omega 3s, omega 6, and those things help lower your cholesterol. You have good cholesterol and you have bad cholesterol. The bad cholesterol is the LDL. The HDL is the good cholesterol, and that you're gonna get that in avocados and nuts and things like that. So the Mediterranean diet, it's whole grain, no white bread or anything like that. Or if you do those things, do them on occasion. Like, yeah, we gotta live. We can't. I don't know about you, but I'm gonna have a glass of wine for once in a while, right? But don't go overboard,
right.
right? You
Moderation.
don't want to damage your liver by going overboard.
Right.
You don't want to have like the whole bag of chips. If you go to a party and you have a slice of cake once in a while, enjoy the cake with your family, laugh, drink, hug. Enjoy the drink with your family, enjoy that slice of cake. But then, the rest of the week, go ahead and do
Mm,
something healthy for the rest of the week.
mm-hmm,
So it's all about a balance.
mm,
Now, I happen to like the Mediterranean diet, but whatever diet you choose, because it might not be right for you. You have culture that plays a lot of part on what people eat. People have kosher diets, halal diets, all kinds of different diets that that they have to adhere to. I'm just saying that have a balance
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
get checkups. Find out what your cholesterol levels are.
mm.
I speak a lot about knowing your blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. Know what your numbers are, know what your diet, like if you take a blood sugar, find out if you're having too much sugar. A lot of people that are like, oh, I don't eat meat, right? So they're eating a lot of carbs. And one thing about carbs, and I'll just, to the best of my ability, when you eat simple carbs, it spikes your blood sugar like literally like this, straight
Mm,
up. When you have complex carbs, it's a slower incline, like a slower incline. It goes up, but it's a slower incline. And protein is even. It goes into your body and it gets processed nice and even.
mm,
Nice
mhm,
and even.
mhm,
Right. So it doesn't spike your blood sugar. So if you're diabetic, you need protein. You don't need all these simple carbs that's just gonna like spike your blood sugar. And complex carbs helps, it's gonna spike it, but much slower rate. And so you can kind of handle that. But you need protein. Protein is going to go in your body and get processed. It's just gonna nice and even. So what proteins can you eat? Things like peanut butter is great.
mm,
you know um just decide what you want, what's okay for you. Like I said, salmon, tuna, mackerel, certain fishes are really well. If you're okay with having chicken, I think is great. Beef every once in a while, but get a higher end, get the 97.3. You don't get the really bad, or just even though people don't like it because they're like, oh, there's no fat in there, it tastes dry. But you can add seasoning and sauce and whatever you need to it. But like I said, if you don't want to stay away from the red meat, that's fine. Just supplement it with other things. Peanut butter is great.
such good information. Let me take a couple of comments before I go back to my notes because I got
Yeah.
a few notes here. But Karen says she's actually walking and listening while we're
Oh yes,
speaking, so that's
Karen.
awesome. That's awesome.
Add
She's
a little
very
jog in
healthy.
there, girl.
You should see this lady
10 seconds, a
smile.
little
She has a
jog.
massive. She has a
Get that
massive
cardio
smile,
heart
similar
rate up.
similar to you, Candid Ann. She has a big, massive smile, just
Oh
similar to you.
yeah.
Oh, I
That's
love her
awesome. I paid a
smile.
lot of money for this now, honey. Woo! Braces,
Yeah.
braces.
Oh,
I
me
had
too. I had
braces
braces myself.
twice.
Oh, twice. I feel like I need to get mine second time now because I feel like mine are
I feel
starting to
like I need a third
crowd
one. It's
again.
starting to come back. It's disrespectful.
That's a different word, right? I know, right? Disrespectful. Sean says, I do high
Hit.
intensity interval training, HIIT, when I run. I go song on, song off because he's a DJ and he plays music. He's
Cool.
very much into his music.
Hit is great.
So fast walk on one song, then I do an 8 minute mile pace for the next, vice versa for 2 miles. So I do something similar to that sometimes. I'll I'll run as far as I can go, and then when I stop, then I walk and then catch up.
Oh,
Then I
good,
do
good,
it again.
good.
Then I do it again. So, yeah, because I don't go. I mean, I spend a lot of money in gyms, and I decided I'm not going to waste some money in gyms anymore because I don't end up following through. And also, I have access to a free gym within my in my city. We have,
Okay.
so I go, and
Take
it's really
advantage
nice.
of that, though. Take advantage. And
And it's
sometimes, if you're a senior citizen, as we're talking about retirement, they
yes,
usually some communities have a senior community
facilities.
center,
That's
and they
right.
have training
Programs.
programs there. So this is definitely something people can take it. I know my town has one.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
that's right. And let's just go to what Sean says again. Candidate, I want to ask you, how often should humans eat per day? Not calories, the number of times we should be consuming food.
That's really up to you. Like if you're a diet, that's a question I'm not going to be able to answer because I don't know what history you have. If you are diabetic, we're going to suggest you to eat, at least 3 meals a day, sometimes five, and snack in between. And we're going to test your blood sugar. And if it sometimes people in the morning times they are hypoglycemic because your body does this thing. I'm not even going to get into the circadian rhythm and all this other stuff, right? But your body kind of like prepares for waking up, and it might be high or low. So everyone is different. So I can't unfortunately answer that question, but the most important thing is that you should know your body. What works for me is not going to work for you. Right? So what I can't paint a broad
Mm,
picture and say humans should eat 3 times a day, humans should eat 4 times a day, humans should eat 1 time a day. I can't do that just because I'm coming here as the professional candidate and the medical professional. So I know that I'd be in trouble if I knew that, like, you have a dietary issue, you have some kind of disease process, you have some issue, and I'm over here saying humans should eat one time a day. And oh my God, you heard Candid Ann on YouTube, and now your blood sugar drops. Like, it's just not safe for me to tell anyone that. So I'm sorry I can't answer your
Yeah.
questions, but overall, just, do what's best for you. I think if you're thinking about, um, I know he spoke about hip. Some people are into intermittent fasting. If you don't have complications and dietary issues and whatever, I think that is wonderful. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful way to lose weight, and stuff like that. But that's the best I can do to answer that question.
Yeah, so I'll just echo that and say this is not medical advice per se.
No.
This is, go see your own doctor.
Child, go see your own doctor.
This is Candid Ann is not your nurse. She
Yes,
is
I am
a
a nurse, just
she's
not
a
your
nurse.
nurse.
That's what the intentional millionaire says. I am
Yes,
not
yeah,
your lawyer.
yeah,
I
yeah.
am the.
I forgot about that. That's true. That's very good. Yeah.
Um, and then also, big shout out to Annette, Debbie's sister. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're in the chats and you haven't sent a message, just drop a message so that we can greet
Sure.
you properly as well. Could you just give an example of simple sugars versus complex
Oh
sugars?
yeah, sure. White versus brown. Simple sugars would be like white bread, white anything, white rice, all those white potatoes, and a complex sugar or complex carb, right? Carb and sugar is basically synonymous. So a complex carb would be whole grain bread, brown rice, right? And the reason why it has more fiber, it takes a longer time for your body to process it. So therefore your sugar doesn't spike up as quickly. It's more complex. It's a more complex carbohydrate. It's not all the nutrients, all the fiber and everything hasn't been taken away from it. So your body has to work harder to break it down. Therefore, it doesn't spike your blood sugar as quickly as a simple carb. Like that white bread, it's just carb. There's no fiber. There's nothing left in it. It's just, same thing with a potato, right? It's just white potato. Not saying potatoes are good, right? But I would prefer someone to eat a yam. What we call yams. I don't
Oh,
know what you guys call
sweet
them. A
potato?
sweet potato.
Oh,
It's a
like
little bit more.
the orangey looking one.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right, right.
Those were more complex, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, got you. Perfect. Great answer there.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk about water. The importance of water.
Yes. I mean, there's nothing else I could say. Drink water, y'all. Drink water. How much water should you have? I cannot answer that question. I've had a patient that came to the hospital with congestive heart failure, CHF, and they were like struggling to breathe. I heard I was supposed to drink water. Everyone says water is good for you. Well, you have a medical situation in which you cannot handle. Your heart is not able to handle that much water. Your heart is in what's called congestive heart failure. We won't get into what that means. It just means that if I come on here telling everyone drink water and then you're listening to me, you might end up in the hospital in 2 days because it's not the right information for you, right? But when I say whatever fluids you're drinking, because everyone, we got to have some kind of fluids, I would much prefer you to drink. If you're gonna drink something, if you're gonna drink something, I would prefer you to switch your soda to water. To switch. If you're gonna have juice, eat the fruit. I would prefer you to, like, instead of orange juice is a little of an exception, but like instead of the pineapple and the mango juice and all these different kinds of juices, just go ahead and eat the banana, eat the mango, eat that. And or if you want to have water with some flavor, drop some strawberries, drop some cucumbers, drop some flavor inside there, infuse it, and it will taste wonderful. It will taste wonderful. I know people ask me about that little chemically water thing or whatever. That's weird to me. I mean, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what that stuff is. Like, why are we dropping like flavor chemical stuff? What is that? I don't know what the hell it is.
It's true. You make a
I don't
good
know what it is.
point.
People say it's
Oh
supposed to be
goodness.
okay for you. I don't know what it is. It's just weird to me. It's weird to me. I
Wow.
had a patient who had like some powder stuff made by Skittles.
Oh,
made by Skittles to put in the water. I'm like, at that point, just drink the doggone soda. Like, I don't know, is this even
Oh,
better for you? Like, it was like a powder thing, and it was made by Skittles.
that's true. You got to be
Like,
careful about that. We'll talk about labels on the food in a minute. Debbie says, is coffee okay to drink?
yeah,
One.
actually, coffee is fine
Co-
to drink, but don't have like, okay, great. Black coffee is wonderful. Once you start going to Starbucks and start adding those shots of sugar and cream, and that becomes dessert. That's no longer regular coffee. That is a
A
dessert
thousand
item.
calories, probably 2,000 calories in those
Right?
things, man.
It's so just be careful when you say coffee. I'm talking about simply coffee. I'm not adding the shots of flavor, the shots of whatever stuff, and the whipped cream and the mocha blah blah blah. I don't, I'm just talking about
mocha,
just the coffee.
mocha latte, fat, that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about all that stuff that they sell at Starbucks, which is delicious. I mean,
Yeah,
whatever, but just the coffee by itself.
yeah. Big shout out to Steve Lemire. Welcome to the show. Never had you.
Welcome, Steve.
Don't think I've seen you before, but so good to have you. Welcome, welcome. Do come again. Thanks for this info, ladies.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Please like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Or hot tea.
Hot tea is also wonderful, especially if you're doing herbal tea. Green tea is great. I think green tea has been like signed. Let me not say that because I can't even remember. I think it's been linked to like some health benefits. I don't even want to say what they are because I don't really remember and I don't want you guys to hold me to it. But once again, be careful what you put in the tea, right? Don't put like a lot of sugar, a lot of honey, and all these different additives. It would be great if you can add the minimal, just the hot tea bag would be great. But if you have to add something to it, just a little bit of sugar, just a little bit, not too much, because
Okay.
then you're dealing with a syrupy drink again. It's just not, you know, all the benefits from the green tea, like, and this massive amount of sugar, it becomes,
Yeah,
I don't know, null and void.
eliminating the
The
good thing about
benefits,
it, turning it bad.
yeah.
So let's talk about labels on foods for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, that's kind of something that we should all do. Pay attention to the little. I wish I had a food item in front of me, but know how to read the labels. If you are diabetic and you're trying to, that you'll be surprised at how much sugar is in certain things. Like
Hidden.
like ketchup. Right, you like what ketchup sugar? You would be surprised at how much sugar is in so many different things. And so you kind of want to get used to reading those items. If you are someone that's struggling with kidney disease and you are on dialysis, you have to watch how much potassium you take in. You can't have a whole lot, and so some of those salt substitutes, like Mrs. Dash and stuff like that, they substitute the salt for potassium items. So you have to be careful. You can't have those items. You might be better for you to go back to the salt items because you can't have those. You just got to pay attention. You'll be surprised. But if this is not your problem, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just have all this stuff in my brain that I'm like, you got to pay attention. It's different for everybody, because your kidneys process potassium. And if your kidneys are not working, then you have too much potassium, and too much potassium makes you have heart fibrillations. Believe it or not, you can
Wow.
start going into AFib and all kinds of weird stuff. So just pay attention to those labels. If your doctor tells you you have a particular issue, try to pay attention to those things. And especially if you're on a restrictive diet, like if you are vegan, if you're a vegetarian, make sure you're getting the nutrients that you need. I don't know if you want to take an iron pill, if that's comfortable. It's going to make your stool dark and black. Might not be something that you can do. I know some people have tried to be vegans. They thought it was healthy and they just went down. The doctor's like, you got to eat some kind of meat. You might not want to have red meat, fine, but you need something.
Mm.
Your body just can't handle it. Not everyone's going to be able to handle it. Some people are going to be great,
Mm-hmm.
but some people might not be able to handle it. So just, read the labels,
Mm.
have an understanding. Even when you're buying meat, like I remember my little brother started working out.
Mm-hmm.
He became such a snob, Melissa. He became such a snob. He was buying meat. He
Okay.
was listening to Chris Jones, this bodybuilder on YouTube, whom I also follow. Very good
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
and there he's like reading the labels to the beef. It has like the percentage 80-20, 93-7, 97-3, and all this stuff. And my brother's learning about it, and those things, it's all beef, but the 80-20 is cheaper, right? Because it has more
Oh,
fat, so it's less
oh,
expensive.
right, right.
And my brother's like, oh, who would buy 80-20? It's so unhealthy. And I'm like, okay, what do you think we were eating as kids? What do you think mom was cooking all this while? Like, he's walking around here, oh, who would eat that? Well,
A
we
little
grew up on
information.
that.
You got a little
But,
information
you
now.
know, now that he knows better, he understands better, so that, when you read the label, all beef is not the same in the supermarket. You have to read the label. Even something as, why is one cheaper than the other? Read it. There's more fat in there. That fat is going to, once you heat up, it's going to dissipate, and it's going to give you oilier fat. You're going to get less meat. Some people can't handle the 97.3 because it's kind of like too much. It becomes a little, they say, rubbery. So you might deal with a 93.7. you
Mm-hmm.
know it's going to cost you a little bit more, but it's worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
So even reading the labels there is kind of
Yes.
important.
Very important. Thank you for that. Debbie says that why does so many products have natural flavors?
Just
Are
nonsense. That's
they
marketing,
good
girl.
for you?
Natural
Are they not good for you?
flavorings. The Lord, man, listen, this is so crazy. That's a great question, Debbie. I don't know the answer to that, but what does that mean? I have no idea. Natural
Natural flavorings.
flavorings. I
Yeah,
don't
you're
know what
probably
that
right. It
means.
probably is a marketing
Some
ploy.
marketing crap.
Um, they use 10-1 in fast food
What's
stores.
that? 10-1 in the fast food
The
stores. What's
the
that?
the beef you were talking about with your brothers, the
Oh,
brother,
10-1. Oh my God,
that must be.
really? That un
I would be
That's
surprised.
junk.
Well, I don't eat. I
Junk.
don't eat. I don't eat beef. I don't. I certainly don't eat fast. I don't eat fast food beef. I do. I do sometimes eat a chicken burger, but I sometimes look at the chicken and I'm thinking, is this real chicken? Is this? Is this? No. But what I mean is this. Is this the kind of? Because one time I discovered that the 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 chicken was like, I guess, all the different bits of pieces of chicken that they just kind of mushed together in, and I'm like, when I discovered that, I'm like, no more of that.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. And it looked like it, and it looked like it, that was, which was the worst part. It actually,
Mm.
oh Lord mercy. Thanks, says Debbie.
Yeah, the
Yes, it's
lowest
the
grade.
lowest grade beef.
Yeah.
All right, so we're about to wrap up the
It's been wonderful
diet and
talking.
fitness
Yeah.
portion. So, if you could just summarize the diet and fitness portion by, I know one thing that you had said was, honor your body,
Hmm.
um, and generational health, forming healthy habits, and
Yeah,
maybe we can just summarize it in that way.
I don't remember exactly what I said, but I remember how I feel
Mm-hmm.
about this. So I might not say the exact same
No,
thing, but
that's
I know
fine.
how I feel about it
Mm-hmm.
internally.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, I know you don't frequent a lot of different like conversations about girlfriends and relationships and stuff like that. I get into the saucy part of YouTube sometimes,
You
right? I
know
get
what?
in
You know
there.
what? You know what, Candida? Let me just confess this though. Even though I don't get involved in a lot of those chats, sometimes I'll just, again, it's like falling off a wagon, and I'll slip into Right now I'm actually watching Love Is Blind. Do you watch Love Is Blind?
Mm-mm. Is that
With
regular television
No, it's on
on
Netflix.
YouTube?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix? Oh no, I'm talking about YouTube.
Right. Well, it's a similar kind of
Oh,
thing
is
because
it?
it's
I
like
haven't heard of it.
Love
No.
Is Blind. It's like one of those reality shows.
Okay, okay.
So I used to watch reality, right?
Okay.
Back in your old life. It's kind of that messy
Okay,
reality
okay.
show type of thing, and I'm like, why am I getting into this? And I'm like, really enjoying it.
It's saucy. The
Don't tell
conversations are
any. It's
saucy. It's
really
spicy. It's entertaining sometimes.
it really
You know,
is.
well, sometimes I'm on these YouTube streets. I frequent some areas when I don't want no one to know I'm a nurse at all because I be on there talking crazy. All right. Nothing racist or weird
Mhm.
like that,
Mhm.
but talking about relationships and
Mm.
stuff like that. And, men I don't want to speak for men. I'm just saying what I hear about, wanting a woman to cook for you,
Mm,
right? Make a
mm-hmm.
plate and all these different things. And if you want a person to make a plate, find a person that can make it. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your life. I'm just saying pay attention to what this woman feeds you,
Good
right?
point.
Because does this woman love you? All this crap that we've been taught to eat might not be serving you. I mean, the men are talking about their legacy, right? And she's feeding your kids, she's feeding your legacy. What are we putting in front of our kids to eat? I don't even have any kids, right? But you're coming to the hospital at 31, 35, 40 years old with hypertension, blood pressure at 208 over 105,
Wow.
crazy numbers, because all your life you've been eating this meal, this junk that you've been fed. So I just, I want people to start thinking about, like, when we're having these conversations about, oh, if I get a woman, she gonna cook. These women can't cook nowadays and all this stuff. That's fun, whatever. Find a woman that cooks. But I also want you to find a woman that is interested in actually feeding you something that is nutritious, feeding your legacy. No, let's get away from the fried food. Let us think about, like, your diet and complications. And sometimes loving you is saying no to you,
Mm,
saying no to our spouses because they want certain fatty foods that they're raised on. And
right.
that's rabbit food, I don't want to eat that. Well, the answer is you're going to eat it. We're making a change here. And I remember, my mom, she went back and forth on diets. And join, like, you might not have diabetes, but it would be beneficial for you sometimes to just cut down on your sugar. Why wait till you have diabetes?
Mm,
Let's pretend you and I were a couple, right? And I had diabetes. It would be great if you said yourself you're addicted to sugar,
yeah.
right? Would it just not benefit you, as opposed to, like, my mom? I think my mom's husband, I forgot what happened to him. I think he had some kind of issue, and the doctor recommended him to have more fiber in his diet. I
Uh-huh.
forgot what issue it was. So my mom bought brown, like the complex carb, right, and then she bought another bread for herself. And I'm like, just buy the better bread and eat it together. She's buying his bread that the doctor, and she's buying her same white Wonder bread.
Right,
I was
right,
just like,
right.
why are we doing this? Why are
It's
you waiting for a
true.
complication?
Yeah.
So that's all.
You're,
That's when I think about, like, the saucier parts of YouTube that I frequent. I think about, like, it's not just the food, but, like, what are we feeding ourselves?
yeah.
And I understand that, one, we are, as humans, we are genetically predisposed. We are
Disposed.
genetically predispositioned
Oh.
to have fatty foods because it's for survival,
Mm-hmm.
for sugary foods, for butter because it's for survival. But we have a plethora. We've industrialized so much food that you can just go to. You don't even have to worry about cutting a chicken, worrying about
It's true.
none of this stuff anymore.
Right,
People are like,
right.
"Oh, it has feathers." Oh, we're so separated from how the chicken came, you know, and so
You can buy your chicken already, no
filleted
skin,
and everything.
right? You
Yeah,
don't
you
have
don't
to do
even
all
see
the
that anymore. You
work.
see a feather, you're like, oh, we're so far removed from the process.
Shout out to
Um,
Suzette
yeah.
Speaks. This is good information, ladies.
Thanks, Suzette. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
But yeah, I just want people to be more aware. I can't, but this is just touching the base of
Yeah.
hoping that I hope this has served the audience, because I certainly can't come on here and speak in depth because healthcare is so complex. It's the
Yeah.
reason why you have so many healthcare specialties.
Right.
When you go to the doctor and you're like, oh, you got an oncologist, you have a neurologist, you have a
Oh,
cardiologist, you have a
wow.
nephrologist, you have all these specialties because it's so complex and all these things work together,
Yep.
but they're also a specialty.
That's right.
So, um, I hope it's been, I
This
hope
is,
that
yeah.
somehow you guys got something out of it and you're able to write at least a couple of things down to take away, because I want people to have a good experience. When you come to the hospital, it's never a good experience, right? When you get admitted, it's
Right.
never a good experience. But
Right.
I'm passionate about making it as smooth as possible,
Right.
taking away some of the stress
Yep.
as much as possible, so that you can not come back as often so that you are prepared a little bit better when you go
Right.
home. And that's really why I do these things. When you guys come on here and ask me these questions, I'm like, I don't really want people to know that I'm a nurse because I'd be on here cursing. But I get so
Listen,
passionate about certain things. I'm like, it's worthwhile because what I'm seeing on a daily basis, you know, I just want people to be more informed.
listen, Candid Ann, I really, really appreciate it. I'm sure
Yeah.
everybody does in the chat. They're all shouting excellent
Oh,
information,
thank
says
you
Debbie.
guys.
Good night, ladies. Good stuff,
Good night.
says Sean. And just to summarize what we talked about tonight, we did quite a lot, and and once Candy started, she was going,
Sorry, I'm
in the
chatty.
swing, and we love it. We love it. That's what we're here for. One of the biggest issues in retirement is running out of money because of health costs. I've heard that health costs can literally wipe you out. So having a good healthy body, having a good healthy lifestyle is important as part of our Retire Ready series. And this is why Candid Ann is here. So we started off talking about some of the health insurance or some of the health plans and health facilities that are out there. We talked a little bit about that. And then we went into the healthcare surrogate, power of attorney, wills, and just getting prepared and not waiting for the time to come to have these medical issues when you're all stressed out and you can't really think straight. So having all of those things prepared, and then we talked about our dietary considerations and fitness, eating healthy, being active, and all of that. So we covered quite a lot today. We are going to do a part 2 of this because we do want to talk about the two most popular medical conditions that affect our people, that black people in particular. So we're going to talk about that at another occasion. Let me know, guys, if you're up for that. You can also see that being spoken about on the Intentional Millionaire in depth. We're talking about like 3 or 4 hours, right? And also on Uncle Stu. I think he did a show about that as well.
Yeah,
Or
we spoke about loving a black man. We spoke about my husband having a healthcare complication and loving your spouse through that because even though I'm a healthcare worker, I'm his wife.
right.
So that was a little bit different, but
Oh,
still
okay.
touching on caregiver and stuff like that.
Right. So the one with the Attention Millionaire, you guys talked about that in depth, and it was about 4 hours. But I want to do that at least 2 hours or less. So we're gonna have Candid Ann come back and talk about that. She already agreed to do that. So again, Candid Ann, I thank you for part 1. I thank you. I really appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
It's been fun.
Everybody, give Candid Ann some love for those who of you still there, or feel free to just drop a comment in the comment section if you're watching on the replay. So have a good night, guys. Thank you so much, Candid Ann. We shall talk.
Yes, it's
Big
been
shout
fun.
out.
Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. All right. Have a good night.
Bye. Take care now. I'm going to drop down.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. I'm going to just go out and say goodbye to everybody in the chats as we play our outro music. Again, I thank you all for being here. Those who are still here, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's just play the little music as we say goodnight, as we normally do. All right, good night, Gail at Night. Thank you so much for moderating tonight. Thank you to Suzette Speaks. Thank you to Vaughn Nemard. Thank you to Debbie Banner. Thank you to Suzette Speaks again. Thank you to thank you to Steve Lemire. Thank you, Steve Lemire. Thank you for being here. And It's the Sean Show, of course. Big shout out to It's the Sean Show. Karen Millwood Boche. I think it's pronounced Boche. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Gary Dixon, who's still awake. Thank you for being here. Yes, she really is amazing. I mentioned Debbie Banner already, didn't I? And who else did I miss? Delicious Catty. Delicious Catty. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth with Bernard S. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us tonight. Thank you to Andrea Dixon for joining us tonight. Thank you so much. We're going to be back again very soon to do a part 2 of this show. Bath Fountain St. Thomas, Jamaica. Thanks for being here. The Debt-Free Dad, thank you so much for participating in tonight's show with your comments. Vaughan Bryant, the amazing Vaughan Bryant, thank you so much for being here tonight. The Intentional Millionaire, so thank you for being here. If you're still here, just drop me a number 2 in the chat. Uncle Stu, the old man on the block, thank you so much for joining in and participating in the chat. She stole my thunder. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Victor Morgan, Mr. Morgan, how you doing, sir? Good to have you here tonight. I think that's it. Edward Smart. Edward Smart, thank you so much for sharing as well. Really appreciate that. Mama Riley, RN, author of Share Recipe Book. Really appreciate it. Barrington Spence, thank you so much for tuning in tonight, Barrington Spence. I hope you enjoyed the show. Well, let me know what you thought of the show tonight, guys, in the chats or in the comments on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp. There we have the show. Alright, guys, I will see you next time. I will see you next time on MJ Live. It's the Retire Ready Research Series, where we're talking about all things retirement in the different aspects, whether it's healthcare, whether it's finances, whether it's just putting our final wishes together, everything that you can think of, we are doing that. We're having the conversations and we're making it normal. We're trying to normalize these type of conversations, which can be a little bit tricky, a little bit, nerve-wracking to discuss. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time on MJ Live. Bye.